Welcome to Pandora's Awareness Podcast, a place where we collect stories and circulate life-changing wisdom. I'm your host, Asher, and our guest today is Dr. Amanda. And it's just me and you today, Dr. Amanda. We get to rap. We get to talk about victory because that's the theme of our Friday conversation around victory. And we get to share about the things that we have achieved, accomplished, whatever stuff we want to reinforce in our life. We get to talk about that. And I'll get to cheer you on, you get to cheer me on, and we get to have a conversation about you because it's all about you
Got it.
today. So, if you don't mind, Dr. Amanda, tell us where you're hailing from, what you specialize in, how you adding value to the world, and who you being a hero to.
Yeah, so I am Dr. Amanda Adkins. I am currently in the San Francisco Bay Area in California. I am an internal medicine and lifestyle medicine physician and owner of Enlightenment Health and Wealth, where we help women who are overweight prevent and reverse chronic illnesses. I believe I'm a hero to all my patients and my daughter, as an example of healthy living.
Mm. Hero to your daughter. Only one? Only one daughter?
Only one child. Yeah.
What's her age?
Four. She's four.
Ah, four.
Yes.
So she get to get all the love now. Because
Yes. Yes.
mama is settled in, like, okay, I can just you can work on you. She can get everything now. Yeah.
That's how she feels. Yes.
Mm. So if I had, because it seems like you've accomplished a lot over your lifetime. If we had to go back into your history, your story, and pull something out that you want to celebrate today because it has cost you so much, but are giving you so much as well, what would that thing be?
I would say just my health journey for myself overall,
Mm,
which I start back because it started back when I was a teenager in high school. I was an obese teenager,
mm,
and wanted to become a physician. And my family history is full of high blood pressure, diabetes, and cancer, heart disease. So I was like, I can't be an overweight doctor telling people that they need to be healthy.
mm,
So I look back in my life and like, okay, that was the turning point for me to get healthy because I was just a person like we was talking about earlier that just loves to sit and read books, not really active, not really doing much. So I decided to become a vegetarian when I was 16, which I think led me to the lifestyle medicine portion of my life. Because people are always like, well, why don't you prescribe as much medications as other doctors? I was like, well, I feel like you can do a lot of healing just with what you eat, where
mm,
how you sleep, how much exercise you do during the day. So it is I think a life calling. And I just see, even though when I struggled a lot as a teenager, to be in my life at this point in time, it was all to be here talking to you and your audience today.
mm. No, that's powerful, by the way. And you mentioned something that kind of triggered something for me. It was like you love to sit and read. I must tap into this struggle with other pieces as well. But it sounds like you a person that do you do a lot of mental exercise because you like to read, you got to work your brain out. But then you realize that you gotta start working the body out too, doing the other piece of it that kind of ties into the other piece of this mental piece. So what got you on the journey of loving to read so much, by the way?
Oh man, I think it was my grandfather. He was always, pushing education, and just would go to the library, and I was just like, let me try this. And
Mm,
in my world, this was back in the 80s and 90s. There wasn't a lot of extra stuff to do, like they have kids have nowadays. Not a lot of video games and stuff out there.
mhm,
So that was my way of just like exploring the world, because I
mm,
was in Indiana, didn't go many places, but when you read a book, it
mm,
like takes you to a different place. And I remember reading books and it's like a movie playing in my head. And that's why I think I fell in love with it because I'm like, no one could tell me a different story. I can make up the way the characters look and sound. And it
mm,
was it was just a beautiful thing. And from there, I just fell in love with it.
mm. What did that do to your future?
By reading,
Mm-hmm.
like I think it just gave me a good work ethic to actually learn and study. So um,
Mm,
in med school, it's a lot of reading, a lot of regurgitating what you've read.
mm,
Um, so and it just gives me the power, I think, to just relax, and I think zone out. That's my way of just like relaxing and getting away from the world and just doing my own storytelling.
mm.
Now they have Hallmark, so I love Hallmark movies. So the books that I read kind of correlate to Hallmark movies now. So my family really uh, laugh at me because I like that. But I was like, if you look at my history, the two go together. Like I love
Mm,
reading books that talk about these different stories, and then these stories are actually playing out in my head. They're playing out on TV now.
mm, mm. So you work right now. You're working on the health piece, helping people because you realize that in your practice, you can also do a lot more on the side outside of your medical practice to help other people with the weight. And I'm curious to know why is that so important for you right now for people that you're trying to help.
Because I am a Christian and I just feel that we have a lot to contribute to this world, and we're so bogged down with chronic illnesses
Mm,
that we're not able to fulfill our full potential. A lot of people there are like they're stressed out, they're tired, they're using all their money for like medical care. I hear this so much of people like, I don't make enough money to pay for this and that. And I'm like, well, we have a lot of things you can do that you can do, naturally. And it's not necessarily going against my medical training. It's just like a complementary to that.
mm-hmm,
Um, and I just see that people are happier when they're not having to take so many medications because then they're like all the side effects of medications. And again, this is something that I feel like I was called to, but it feels also like I was stumbled into because it was like
mm,
I wasn't trying to tell people that they, had to change their lifestyle because I was trained to say, oh, this is your diagnosis. Here are the medications that you can actually use to manage your illness. There's nothing that usually treats the illnesses that I work with, mostly as internal medicine. It's just managing your illness. But when
mm,
I actually found out about lifestyle medicine, it was more for myself because I was a person that wanted to be healthy. I did not want to be on medications. And then people started to ask me about it. Oh, well, what are
mm,
you doing? And so that became more of like, oh, okay, so people are interested in this. So let me actually get more formal training and actually to be able to help others.
mm. Now that's interesting that you see that playing into what you want to. I'm curious. So what is your big vision then, by the way?
My big vision to
Mhm.
actually heal people. I'm not the healer. What they do is healing them. Let's just so we make that clear from their chronic illnesses. So there are several research papers out there that talk about how lifestyle and what you do in your lifestyle can actually reverse chronic illnesses. So instead of managing illnesses, I want them to be able to reverse them and then actually be able to fulfill out your purpose for your God-given talent,
Mhm.
then using your actual talents and income to help others. So I talk about Christianity in the church because I feel like that's really where we can call people out and actually be able to help more, especially our brothers and sisters that are struggling in the world
Mhm.
and in the US, even where we can actually do more than waiting for a law to pass, waiting for grants from the government. And we can just use our collective wealth to help others, and it's going to make the world better because the way we're working now is just not working. And I just feel like we can do a lot better when we come together as a community.
Mm. No, no, looking at the vision that you have that you want to see, you want to pursue, and what are some of those big major obstacles that you've seen so far that takes so much of your energy to kind of get through?
People believing that it can be so, like, oh my goodness. Because when I talk about lifestyle and what people eat, that's a big part of their culture. So learning that you don't have to eat a lot of these processed foods and animal-based products, that you can actually become healthier without eating them. That seems like a big obstacle for people to overcome so they can actually heal themselves and get healthier. And I didn't mention this in my story, but like my father was a meat delivery truck driver growing up.
Mm.
And so I decided to become a vegetarian, which that doesn't go together either, right? But it was a lot of processed meats that we were actually um, given and ate when we were younger. And knowing now that those types of meats can actually cause cancer and other chronic illnesses is just like, people are like, well, I love my bacon. I love my sausage. I love a good steak. I don't want to give that up. But what they don't know is that when they give that up, they actually give their body a chance to heal. Then once we can get over that hurdle, then actually having the community work together. So many people want to have their own entities. and not necessarily come together. They just like, oh, come and support my thing.
Hmm.
But I'm now working with my church to actually help people that are have food insecurities, and then just teaching them a little bit about nutrition. So myself and another physician, we just happened to meet up because I joined the church, and they are like, oh, this is what we're going to do. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is like what I've been dreaming of to actually come. And we're just starting the first step. So I just see that it's going to come together, even if it's not in my lifetime. Hopefully, I can pass that down. So, like I said, the leaving the legacy of just planting a seed, sometimes just starting out and having others take over. But I just know that that's how it's going to actually pan out, to where it's going to be more people working together, healing through lifestyle, and then actually going out and healing the world, giving the good news to people.
I know you realize this, but you're battling a big battle. Like this is a this is a major obstacle, a major enemy out there that people are trying to fight. And it's like food, like people, the food on people's plate, like that's a very emotional thing for a lot of people.
Hmm.
I mean, so when you're telling somebody like you can't put it on your plate no more, like my whole life, my whole culture is built around this food. It's not easy. Like it's not
Yes.
easy at all. And they're gonna resist. So how have you been able to transform those people thinking into like, hey, this is what I'm trying to educate you on, and this is what you can do. This action you can take to get forward beyond this thing.
So I feel like just planting a seed. So just
Mm.
giving them the thought, they saying, okay, and make it to them, make it seem like it's their idea. So
Mhm.
when people come to me and they're like, okay, Dr. Amanda, this is what I'm, facing. This is where I want to go. And so I try to look at their goals, what they want, not necessarily push my agenda. And then
Mhm.
they're like, okay, so what you're saying is, like, I've had people say this verbatim. So you want me to become a vegetarian? I'm like, well, if that's what you want to do. so, so I say that first, and then I'm like, but when they talk about what they're eating versus the medication that they want to take, they're like, well, this medicine that you say I should take, it has all these side effects. I'm like, but the food that you eat has worse side effects. You just don't have a whole list of them from the pharmacy, right?
Mhm.
And so it's just those little things. And even if they can just change one or two things, they're actually, and then see results. So, one, they start to have more energy, they're sleeping better, they're using less medications. So just that positive reinforcement is helping people just overall. So that gives them the um, encouragement to keep going, and knowing that it doesn't have to be perfect, but they can just take one step at a time. And I know it's an uphill battle, but I was like, that's okay. This is what I just feel I'm called to do. So even like I said, if I don't see it in my lifetime, I know it's going to start, and eventually it'll come to pass. So I may be looking at it from above,
Mhm.
but I'm with it.
I think it was Dick Gregory or something like that. He was saying something. I was watching one of this really wasn't it was him. And he was saying that, sometimes people always question certain things, but then it was like you never really question. Say, I'm gonna talk to my doctor before I go drink some alcohol, right? And those side effects are definitely there. But you're like, you never go ask the doctor for, hey, is this alcohol good for me? But you go do it. But then when
Hmm.
somebody says, try this other thing, like, well, do I need to get a doctor? No, you know what I'm saying? So he was talking, it made a lot of sense when he was saying. I was like, oh, a lot of time people they experiment on things that
Hmm.
are bad for them, but then when somebody says something good for you, like, well, I need to go see the doctor, blah blah. This I don't think it's all right, whatever. So I can see
Yes,
a lot of that.
yes.
Mm.
That is interesting. I've heard people say that, because usually when I give talks, I always give a disclaimer to talk with your physician, and that's
Hmm.
just more of covering myself, so someone doesn't say, "Well, this doctor told me to do this," type thing. But it's from that standpoint, it's more of if you're on certain medications, there may be certain deficiencies that you have that you may have to tailor some of the things that you're doing,
Hmm.
but I don't think what I say, like eating more fruits and vegetables and whole grains, would hurt anyone. But again, we live in America, so you always have to kind of say those things if you're in a position like I'm in, that I've been advised to do.
Mm.
So, but I just
Speaking
tell
about
people.
America,
Hmm.
something I realized, because I know I was talking to a lot of friends sometimes, like, America is designed for you to supplement everything. Like,
Oh
Like the
gosh.
food, the food is designed a certain way. You're not gonna get enough great ingredients that you need from getting
Hmm.
food from the store. So therefore, you gotta find a supplement for it. And same thing, your job you're working on might not be enough for you, so you gotta get a supplemental job. So there's always a need for supplemental things in America. So when you talk about food, it's like people are like, hey, the food you're eating, yeah, it's filling you up, but it's not giving you all the nutrients you need. You're gonna need something to supplement that food that's deficient in certain things. So how do you have the conversation with people on that part of it? And if you froze on me just now, and not, or maybe I froze. Did I froze on you
Yeah.
just now? Can you hear me?
You, I can hear you now.
Okay.
It did freeze up for a moment.
Did you get my question?
I heard just about supplements. You had to supplement everything.
Yeah, yeah. So I was saying, how do you have the conversation with people around the food and the nutrients that's in the food that they are not getting enough of it when you just go get certain regular kind of food from the store? How you have the conversation with them about that?
Yeah, so first of all, I tell people that's usually not the 100% issue. It's mostly that we're not eating the food that we need to eat first. So
Mm,
the soil is not as rich with minerals because of what we've done to the ground. So that is an issue, but you still get more nutrients than if you eat processed food. So
okay.
I see in for most people they're eating a lot of processed food, so you're not going to get nutrients that way, and then they try to supplement. And I
Mhm.
have this saying that you cannot out exercise a bad diet. But I was like, I'm going to start saying you cannot out supplement a bad diet, because a lot of people want to just take those supplements and then still eat the foods that they want to eat. And I was like,
Mm,
you're working against yourself. Um, so I always push to, eat your fruits and vegetables, whole grains, trying to do, if you can, your own, like grow your own food, which is um, leading to why we need to work together to build these community gardens and all that. So
yeah.
that's goes a different way, but definitely will help, because then you don't want food that's shipped from all these different parts of the world that they have to do things to, and then that's what ends up in the grocery store. So but the first step is to actually eating the whole food. And then if you need to do supplements on top of that, then you could do some, but it's going to be less than most people think. Because I
Mhm.
have some people that will not take one medicine, but they will take every single supplement that's in the supplement store. And I'm like, that's still not what you need, because when we actually think of food that we eat, we think of, oh, yes, I need some vitamin C, I need some protein, but
Mhm.
that's not what's all in just the food, which is what the supplements companies actually promote for you. They're like, oh, take this vitamin C. But when you eat an orange that has vitamin C, or you have spinach that has vitamin C, it just doesn't have vitamin C. You're getting
Mhm.
so much more nutrients when you actually eat a food compared to taking a pill or a powder.
Mhm.
So that's kind of where I am with supplements. Like I do take some supplements, I do take some vitamins, but probably less than what people would think,
Mhm.
especially being plant-based vegan at this point in time,
Mhm.
because you can get a lot of the nutrients that you need through food. But as you were mentioning, in America, they put so much stuff in food. Like if you look at it, compare things that they have in Europe and what's banned over there versus what's banned here, it's just like free for all. Like they set you up for disease. So So I was just trying to get people to understand that, and they're like, "Oh, you just want me to keep coming back?" I was like, if you all put me out of a job
Mhm.
as a physician because you're doing everything that you can in your lifestyle, and you don't need to see me to manage chronic illness, I said I've done my job. I will
Mhm.
go and try to do something else. Like I'm perfectly fine with that. But it's not that I'm trying to get your money. It's like that's what I was trying to do. That's what I'm trying to help you to do. But I'm trying to actually have you see a different light. But it is America, where we live off of I can't even, my words are leaving me now.
Mhm.
Um where profit is
Yeah.
very high for people, businesses. So if they find a market for it and they have a business, they're going to promote it for you,
Mhm.
like, and they're
Mhm.
going to tell you everything that you want to hear to actually be able to get your hard working money that you
Mhm.
have to supplement your income for. I did hear that part. I was like, you supplement that. Um, but yeah, you can get a lot of nutrients eating whole foods, and you may have to do some supplements. And that's, like I said, just because of the soil, how it is compared to how it was like 50 years ago. But trying to make actually grow your own food can help some with that. And that's one of my goals too. But trying to actually tend to a garden
Hmm.
is a lot of work. But a
Yeah.
lot of people,
So I would say that you're a big fan of farmers market then, because I know when I was growing up in Jamaica, this is something I used to love. Cause my dad was a farmer growing up,
ooh,
and
nice.
I used to love when he used to plant everything, man. My dad used to plant everything. I used to, one thing we was poor, but we had food. We just didn't have a lot of food for meat. Like we didn't have all the fancy meat stuff, whatever. But we had food. My dad always
Hmm.
got something planted. And I used to love just like going there and just having a lot of fruits and stuff over the place. Because back then, in the early part of Jamaica, back then in those times, there's a lot of wild fruits and stuff. A lot of
Mm,
wild stuff you can find. Like you can go find a lot of oranges, a lot of tangerines, a lot of bananas, a lot of
hmm.
sugarcane. Like all those stuff was all over the place. But now I know it's not the same anymore. That's when people start raiding everything, and a lot of people not planting like they used to plant anymore, which is
Yeah.
something that we got to get back into. Is like really planting something that really bear fruit, not just a
Hmm.
tree that looks pretty, but a tree that bear fruit. You know.
Right.
And but I used to love that stuff. But no, I'm a big fan of farmers market. I'm not a big fan of going walking through those cold aisles in the store trying to find food. It's not my big fan. I'm a big fan of. I like farmers market. What about you?
Yes, I like farmers markets. They're not as widespread as I can get to as I would like. There's a very
Mm,
limited time. So I would say like Trader Joe's or Sprouts is like the closest that I can get to that sometimes. So
mm,
I prefer those types of places. But I want to ask you, like, when you actually like growing up and actually eating those that fruit that your and the things that your father grew compared to the stuff that you eat now, does it taste a lot different? Like when you first moved from
oh
Jamaica
my
to
God.
America?
Oh yes, totally. I'm gonna tell you something. So people, I would tell people this. You can tell a fruit when it's natural. Like a natural fruit spoils in a few days. Like as soon as you buy the apple, you let
Hmm.
the air hit it for like maybe less than 5 minutes, it change color.
Hmm.
Right? So these apples you have right now, you get them in the store. You buy them, they stay the same thing for like an hour. Like the next day look the same way. So the natural food I grew up with, once you buy it color it spoils very fast, and you can tell when natural. So I'm like, if you want natural stuff, you gotta go to it. Natural stuff
Hmm.
doesn't come to you, right? You gotta go to it. So it's
Yeah.
kind of hard to find natural food here that are really natural or really wild stuff. Like I used to love growing up back in the day. So
Hmm.
I used to love those. Those
It
definitely
is.
feel good. You eat that stuff and you have a lot of energy. Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, all the nutrients is in there, like,
Yeah.
right? You don't need an extra. I learned that when I actually got to go and pick cherries this past last summer.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like it's like a world of difference. Like it because I tell people like it's not the same. Like you think I was like, I don't like to eat fruit, I don't like to eat vegetables, they don't taste right. I'm like, because the what they've done to them, I know,
Yeah.
but we still
Mhm.
gotta try. But if you can grow your own, and sometimes some of our patients bring me things, it's like, oh my gosh, this is
Mm.
heaven.
Yes. Yes. Like mango is my favorite fruit, by the way. I tell everybody that.
Mm.
I can sit and eat mango all day. Like until I gotta use the bathroom too much. But I'm like, I love me some mangoes, man. Me and mangoes go way back. This is one of my favorite things on earth. Yeah. How many mango trees I fell out of because I'm chasing nice fresh mangoes, pretty
Oh
mangoes. So
wow,
hmm
I love it.
What,
I love
what
it.
is your what's some of your favorite fruits?
Oh my goodness, I would say I don't know. I guess I eat a lot of apples just because that's what my grandmother gave me growing up. So
Mm,
I could tell people like I tell people to eat a lot of things. I'm not like adventurous. I just eat what's out there.
hmm
So I don't do anything special. Like so I think that's why a lot of people can relate to me because they're like, oh, you have to do all these extra things, but yeah, a simple apple. And I don't go deep into like all the different types of apples and all that kind of stuff. I just like give me a good, crisp apple and I'm good.
Hold on, when you was in Jamaica, did you ever try Jamaican apple when you was there? Was it
I
was it
did
just,
not.
was okay? I know it's because it's a season thing. So if you don't go there right time, you probably won't get them.
Yeah,
But
I told you that was like 14 years ago.
yeah,
I just know that when I go to islands that their fruit is so much better. I just came back from Dominican and I was just like, oh my gosh, this fruit
mm,
is awesome.
fruit is awesome.
Papaya, oh my
Hmm.
gosh, like that's something that I don't eat a lot of. But when I was there, I was just like, yeah. So
Oh yeah, See, Jamaican apple is not like American apple, by the way. It doesn't look the same. It looks like a pear,
Okay,
And then
okay.
it's just a lot more juicy, like a lot more
I
juicy.
bet, I bet, man.
They're ripe in those really dark purple red. I mean, when a Jamaican
Mm,
apple is really ripe and you get that thing, and because it's white on the inside, right? So the
hmm
skin is like really it change colors, like it's like green when it's whenever young, whenever it gets purple red. And
hmm
when you bite it, you can just see the whiteness on the inside and just juicy.
Oh
Oh
wow.
my God, like I missed. Like listen, I went last time I went back. I went to Jamaica, but it was like December of 2022 because that is I think it's the season is during things like fall season, maybe the
Yeah,
apple season.
that's usually most apples
Yeah,
fall. Hmm.
and then I got there, and sometimes there's a few that grows different off season, whatever. And I saw this
Hmm.
one neighbor, and he had some. I'm like, yo, I leave in a few days, and I gotta get one of those apples. So I'm waiting till the riper they get, 'cause it wasn't completely ripe, but I'm like, I'm gonna
Hmm.
wait till like a few days before so I can get one. And it was kind of crunchy, but it wasn't. But I'm like, I haven't eat this thing in like 20, maybe like 10 years. I'm lying because I went back in 2016. I asked my apples back then. But I haven't had apple like that in a while. And I was like, I gotta get some of these apples because
Mm.
you don't get them except I see them in Hawaii, and a couple other places, but I don't see them in America.
Okay, okay. So next time I go back, I'm gonna have to get that.
You gotta
I
get
need a
Jamaican
Jamaican
apples.
apples.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
I'm
Jamaican
writing
apples.
it down just so I can put it in my. Okay, okay, good.
Those are the
I
most.
love it.
They make the best apple juice because they have a lot of juice in them. So when you put them in,
Mm.
yeah, it's but they got a big seed on the inside. But then you get the seed out, and it's like, oh
Hmm.
yeah,
Oh wow. See,
totally juice. Yeah. Mm.
I
What other
love it.
victories that you have that happens to you in the last year, maybe a year ago, 9 months ago, 6 months ago, 2 weeks ago, yesterday? What victory you want to celebrate?
2 weeks ago. Let's see. Victory. I would just say, hmm. I'm trying to think of a one for a patient. So one patient that actually diagnosed with diabetes that
Hmm.
I love to tell her story that she was kind of devastated with her diagnoses because I was like, well, technically that's where you are, and she has a full family history of
Hmm.
diabetes. And all when people hear diabetes, most time they think of, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to take shots of insulin. I'm gonna lose a limb. That I'm gonna have to go on dialysis. So I was like, hey, we can actually change some things here. And talking about again, what do you eat? What type of exercise do you do? And I was like, we might have to start you on medicines initially and then work on the lifestyle and get you off. And she was just herself so determined, like I said, just planting those seeds and actually hearing what she could do to actually take back control of her health. She actually changed these things in 3 months and went and reversed her diabetes
Mm.
and didn't have to go on medications. And I use that as a victory because I was like, that is a testament to how good lifestyle works better than medication. Because I just love hearing how people take back control of their health. So I love telling her story because it's a victory because she was like, I'm not going to let this be my story. It may have been
Mhm.
a spot there, but I'm reversing that and going backwards. So I love just helping people and just planting that seed and giving them hope because so
Mhm.
many people come to me like, oh, I knew this was going to happen because my grandparents had it, my parents had it, so I just knew eventually it was going to come to me, and they just kind of feel like, oh, kind of hopeless. So when they actually learn what they can do and actually could reverse what they thought was going to happen to them and just see that light in them, it just like that's what I'm here for.
Mm.
So I yeah, she's an inspiration even for me to keep going.
Congratulations to her, by the way.
Yes,
Congratulations to her.
yes.
Hmm. Lifestyle. And did you say you were a lifestyle coach? Kind of like what was your title?
Yeah, so lifestyle medicine is actually
Lifestyle medicine.
yes, actually a board certification now that wasn't available when I was going through med school and residency, but they actually have a residency program, which is a training program
Hmm.
for people to actually specialize in lifestyle medicine. So I have both of
Mm.
those at this point in time. So internal medicines where I learned, how to diagnose and actually just prescribe medications. Lifestyle medicine, you still prescribe medications when needed, but you really focus on the six pillars of your lifestyle to actually help with preventing and or reversing chronic illnesses and sometimes even treating them. for some people, depending on the illness.
Mm. I don't know if you want to get into the six pillars or not, but because I was thinking about it, where the lifestyle is you say is very difficult because a lot of people don't understand how much habit it takes, so much routine it takes, how much planning it takes. But then that's when you need somebody to kind of coach you through because you would quit on routine because because it's so detail oriented sometimes, and you need somebody to remind you like, hey, I'm not here to educate you, I'm here to remind you because you already know. And this is what you gotta keep doing for you to kind of get out of this thing. So looking at the lifestyle
Right.
piece, what are those pillars you're talking about?
So pillars is a plant predominant diet. So that would be the first thing with nutrition.
Hmm.
Then we have exercise, so movement, intentional movement. So a lot of people tell me I'm active throughout the day, which I say is great. But for exercise, it has to be actual scheduled time that you're actually getting your heart rate up. So you need the
Hmm.
exercise. Then you have sleep, restorative sleep. So a lot of people, especially med school or a high stress job, you're like, I'm getting these projects done, I'm going to do an all-nighter. We don't want to do
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
Stress management, there's a lot of stress causing a lot of anxiety for people that has havoc on their health. And then, so that's four. We have substance abuse, that you want to get rid of toxic substances like smoking, alcohol, drug abuse. And then social connection,
Mm.
which was so surprising to me, but it's like it makes sense. We are social beings. We need that part of our lifestyle. So those are the six things that we emphasize in lifestyle medicine. And if you think about it, if any of those are not optimized, then you're going to have some type of, um, for lack of a better word, illness in your
Hmm.
body. So whether it's, emotional, physical, spiritual, you're going to be missing something. So I just love those six pillars and notice that when people actually help with those things. So I like to focus on nutrition, but for some people, it's not nutrition. I have one patient that she has diabetes, and I was always focusing on nutrition, nutrition, nutrition. And then one day I was like, let me just hear, what's going on in your life. What's your story?
Mm.
And it was like stress, like she was just overwhelmed with stress. And I was like, okay, let's shift and let's work on your stress management so that way, when that's better, then you can actually carry out what we're talking about for the other parts of your life. So the nutrition and the exercise, because usually that's all the pillars I have time to talk about in a 20-minute office visit. So,
Mm.
but just listening to her, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what we need. So you have to look at all aspects of your life because different things, especially at different times in your life, may be causing something that's not keeping you balanced, and you can work on that to actually help with your overall management. So stress is a big one, especially for African American community dealing with everything that goes on that people just don't understand that even if life looks good, that you have these different other things that still are there for you that other people don't have to deal with.
Hmm.
So for me, it's a lot of meditation, scripture, and then I also use sleep. I love sleep as a way to manage stress. So just go take a nap. I love that. So like if people look at all those different aspects of their life, they can really start to hone in and heal their body. Not just like I said with nutrition, but I like nutrition because that's where I started.
Sometimes I tell people, like the easiest way to solve a problem sometimes is to go take a nap. Because if you go take a nap, you come back, it's like, okay, all right, no, my brain, let's see. But
Right.
oftentimes we don't realize that the sleep, like the best way to solve a problem sometimes is go to sleep.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
go to sleep, you get up, he's like, okay, let me go tackle this thing. But
Yes.
I know you mentioned that sometimes you only get like 20 minutes to see some of your patients, depends on where you're working at. But now with your regular, your on the side, your supplemental business right here, how much time do you normally spend with folks so you can actually really go through some of those things that they really need for the lifestyle piece of it?
Yeah, so usually my coaching services they're like an hour a week.
Hmm.
So we go through different things, have see what's going on in their life, and then have them actually go out and work on these things, make a plan for them to do for the week, and then go from there. And then, of course, if they have questions in between time, they can email me, which again is not something that you do in regular practice because it's 20
I heard
minutes, and
that.
then if you come back, if you need some more questions answered, you come back for another 20-minute visit, which doesn't help. So that's why I was like, oh, this is not going to work in a traditional medical practice. Which, like I said, I still do, traditional medicine, but again, the health coaching on the side. So yeah,
Mm,
it takes a little bit more. And like you said, the encouragement, even when people have it down, just to continue the routine,
mhm,
um, because you may do it for 6 weeks of a program, and then you're like, okay, I'll go back to doing what I was doing. And it's not necessarily a conscious thing to go backwards. It's just like that's just what you're used to doing. So you're just
mhm,
one thing happens, something throws you off, you're just going back, in the opposite direction, which I try to really emphasize for clients to look at when they notice that they're going backwards and to have like a 3 to 5 step plan to get back on track. So usually people don't have that plan to get back on track. So that what pushes them back. So that's a lot of my like yo-yo dieters. They're like, oh, I'll do this for, a few weeks, a few months, maybe even a couple years. And then they go back. But if they don't have that plan to stop when they're going backwards, which we all do, we all, have time to where we just are not on top of everything. But if we have that plan to go forward, then we're more likely to be successful long term. And I remember tell people it's a lifestyle. It's going to be a journey for the rest of your life. It's
mhm,
not like I'll do this for a year and I'm done. It's never going to be that way.
mm. Well, I was gonna say it's way more advantage to come to you for your supplemental uh specialty versus going to the because 20 minutes like I'm always getting frustrated when I go to the doctor's office too because I'm like it's such a short period of time I don't really get to like really talk or really share because it was I know they gotta like in and out. So it's interesting that you recognize that there's a need for you to really spend time getting to know the people's story, their journey, the things that they're really struggling with because oftentimes that's like the root of the thing and you
Mm-hmm.
don't know it when you just get a 20-minute conversation. So interesting.
Yes. Yes.
Mm,
I hear people will say that a lot now because there was so much more that I would want to talk to people about, but as I tell people, it's like we're not intentionally trying to cut you off, but we're feeling the push from both sides as
mm,
we're working the way that the medical system is working now. It's like you have 20 minutes. Yes, you can spend all the time you want with the patient, but then the next patient's going to be mad. Then they want that hour, and you
ah,
can't see your 18 to 20 patients in a day if you're spending an hour with each one. I mean, you're just going to live there. I would not be able to take care of my daughter and my husband. What are we doing? And so people don't understand, like, it's not that we're trying to rush you, it's that we're being rushed.
mm,
We're like, they're like, hey, you got people here waiting. Hey, you got people here waiting. Oh, you need to make sure you need to bill this person for this. You need to make sure. I mean, so it's that stress that
mm,
we were building up that when you were raising your hand to go to med school that you didn't know was going to be the case. So I was like,
mm,
well, this is a way that I can actually get this out and feel like I'm still helping people. And that's why I said I still like to plant the seeds, give them resources. Sometimes people take you up on that. And the people that actually see me in the office and they start talking about how they want to change their lifestyle, they know that that gets me going. And they may get another 5 minutes from me during that time. So they kind of know how to work that, but I think I'm doing better with that to actually be able to help people, but then give them resources that they can do on their own, and then just kind of reinforce that when they come back for their visits. So giving them homework, putting in more on them to say, okay, this is your health. You're the one in charge. I'm just here to actually help coach you and cheer you along. So if you don't do your part, there's no way I can do mine. So that's why I really see people that are successful in what we talk about with lifestyle.
mm. Here's another question for you then. So on your special your supplemental specialty, I'm gonna call it that for now. What is that wonderful thing about that you notice when your clients work with that they really love about working with you that you just see just make you just feel fulfilled about it?
Just seeing that how they actually respond and what they actually say is their victory. Like one lady was like something as simple as, now I can jog along with my teenage daughter, whereas before she would be running and I may walk with her. Just those types of victories that you see
Mm,
for people, that's what keeps me going. Are the people that's like, oh, I thought, if I was going to eat, more plant-based, that I would feel hungry and I would feel miserable, but I actually feel a lot better. And just like hearing that, it's
mm,
like, okay, just one person at a time, just keep going, keep going. Because you hear those people like, oh, I gotta eat my bacon. It's like, oh no. But then when people come back and tell you that, oh, okay, I tried this, it gives you that just that spark to keep pushing because there's days that you're like, why am I even showing up? And then you get that one person that said, hey, Dr. Amanda, I read that book. I wasn't going to come back, but when I read that book that you suggested, I
Hmm.
actually said, "Oh, I never actually saw diabetes in this manner. Now I'm ready to change." And so it's like, okay, even
Hmm.
though I saw 17 other people that didn't really respond, I'm
Mm.
here for this one person. So it's those little things, and you have to look for. That's why I'm glad you like to call this Friday victory because you look for those small victories that you actually get to actually continue to propel you to continue to go and fulfill out my purpose
Mm.
that I feel like I'm here for. So it's it that's the only thing I can say is those little things that people say. I look for those little things. It may not be
Mhm.
anything huge to anyone else, but it's going to make a difference. Like I said, over the lifetime.
Mm. What is so I'm gonna ask similar question, but maybe you can ask the other one too. So what is the most happiest part of your job? The one that you do for the organization and then for your own job too. That's kind of like tie into that piece again.
So yeah, the fulfillment is when someone comes in and says that I did this that we talked about and I feel better because of this conversation that we had. And sometimes it's like I'm so on autopilot that this is just what I say. And people are like, you remember when we talked about this? And I'm like, no, I've seen 1,000 people since I saw you last. But I was like, this
Mm.
sounds like something I would say. And then just hear them actually say that, it's like, yes, that's exactly right. And to hear them say it back to me after we may have talked about it, 3 or 6 months ago, and what they actually accomplished or actually implemented in their life,
Mm.
that it just keeps me going, and that I think that's the best part because what I can say the opposite of that is when I give people the option. I was like, okay, I can prescribe this medication, we can get out of here in 5 minutes, or we can talk about the lifestyle, what you can change. And it just like I lose energy when people say, just give me the prescription because I know I'm not gonna
Mm.
be able to do that anyway. And it's just like I lose a little bit of myself
Mm.
every time someone says that, and it's just like, ah, dang, okay, I just got to keep planting a seed for this one and
Mhm.
keep continue to go on. But it can be rewarding and disheartening all in the same day. But I can say that almost every single day I have a patient that comes in, or a client that I talk to that makes me smile, makes me laugh, and I just thank them for coming in. Like even if they've done nothing else, but just to come and just I like you were a uplift for my day to get through the day. So that's so rewarding for me just to see their face or to see their name on the schedule. I'm like, oh, I tell my medical assistant we're gonna be behind today because I gotta sit and talk to this person,
Mm.
because they're gonna propel me through the day.
Mhm.
So it's just people, and I think that's if you think about it, that's that social connection piece
Mhm.
from the
Mhm.
the lifestyle medicine. Even though I'm not necessarily doing the traditional medicine at that point in time, it's that social connection that we're getting during those visits.
And that benefits you as much as benefit them.
Exactly.
Mm.
Sometimes even more. I tell them, I said, you did more for me today than I did for you.
Hey, a doctor needs love too, right?
Yes, yes. And yeah, like some
Like,
people like, oh, I just wanted to come and talk to you today. Well, thank you. I needed that.
I got 20 minutes of pop and I got 20 on the calendar today. Oh my God, I'm stressed too, you know?
Yes, yes.
Oftentimes, as much as we're in our purpose also still need validation, still need acknowledgement. Somebody still need to cheer our purpose on because we're in it, but we're doing it. But sometimes we still need somebody like, hey, I love your purpose. Keep doing it.
Hmm.
And it feels good
Exactly.
too. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, because like I said, some days you're like, it's not even worth it. And then you have those people, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
you're keeping me going. I'm here another day. I'm here another day.
Mm. Say somebody hear you right now, Dr. Amanda, hear you and like, wow, Doc, I would like to connect with you. I would like to work with you. I got some problems I want you to help me solve. How can they connect with you?
Yeah, so I have a website, Dr. Amanda MD. So that's DramandamD.com. I have people on there where you can book a free 20-minute consult call, 20 minutes, no, initially, just to kind of see where you are. But then also have a few social media pages on Instagram and Facebook. It's Dr. Amanda Adkins, and my last name is spelled Adkins, which is a little bit different from what most people think. And then I have a few videos on YouTube that talk about lifestyle that people can check out. And again, that's under Dr. Amanda Atkins.
Perfect. If I had to ask you this other question, like your biggest takeaway or giveaway from this conversation, what would that be?
Say that again because it froze.
Your okay, I'm sorry. Your biggest takeaway or giveaway that you would like to wrap up with this conversation with, what would that be?
Um, I would always tell people to eat more fruits and vegetables, like in America. Like I leave everyone with that. If you do that, you're going to be so far ahead of most people because we are so fiber deficient in
Mm-hmm.
this world. Like I said, I love to talk about nutrition because that's where most people are lacking, especially in the African American community.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do that, and then I put that in there, but I also say give yourself grace. Remember, this is a lifestyle and that there's going to be some challenges along the way, but you can actually do it. Don't become discouraged to where you just give up totally. So eat fruits and vegetables every single day and give yourself grace.
Mm. And to tie a bow on that one, another question. What is that? What is that one thing or two thing when people do it drive you crazy?
So one thing I tell you, like when they say, just give me the medication, like, no, like, just give me the medication. That's
Mm,
like, that's I feel like that's a dagger to my heart when I hear that. I don't
mm,
hear that as much anymore as I used to, because most time I see now that people seek me out because they know that medication is not what I always just first hand out.
mm-hmm,
But that's one thing that just kind of drives me up the wall. And then the other thing would be is if they do then accept the medication, then they don't take it because they say that they didn't like the side effects from it. And I'm like, what? So we talked about that earlier. The food
mm-hmm,
you're eating is causing the side effects. The medication is going to cause side effects. Which one are we choosing? So those two
mm-hmm.
things, those two things, really, really get me going.
Wait. Let's go back here. This is you said this, but it just hit me just now. You're saying the food that I'm eating causing side effects, and the medication I'm eating causing side effects. So I got two bad options. I got to choose between. Wow.
So these are the people what they're choosing. So if you're choosing to eat your bacon, your sausage, your pork, your processed food, that's causing, your diabetes, your high blood pressure, your heart disease.
Mm,
Versus if I give you, a statin that's causing you to have muscle aches, joint pains, dizziness, you
mm-hmm.
know. So you're choosing which one. I was trying to give you the option of eating more fruits and vegetables, which don't give you those side effects. So so, so you chose like so. I'm telling you, choose the lesser of two evils. You want the medication, or you want your bad food. So
Mm. Yeah, no, it's interesting. I never thought about the bad food I'm eating. The thing, the side. I didn't think about side effects on the food I'm eating. But
yeah,
no, I'm thinking the side effect. My food got side effects. What are they? It's not. You're not giving me energy. It is taking away energy from me. So it's yeah, interesting.
yeah,
Mm. What you gotta choose food that gave us good side effects, like
right.
fruits and vegetables that give you good energy. Yeah, yeah,
Yes, exactly, exactly.
yeah. Perfect. It's been a pleasure here, Dr. Amanda, picking your brain and hearing how you look at the world, how you see the world, how you trying to add value to the world, and the people trying to be a hero too. I appreciate you sharing your specialty, and
Thank you for
hope
having me. I
somebody
enjoyed
hope
talking
somebody
to you.
hear you, and then like, yeah, this is my doc now.
Yes, yes. I would love that. Open that with welcome arms.
Yeah. Any last word?
Blessings and health to everyone. Blessings and health.
All right, I'll make that the last word. With that, folks, you tune in to Pandora's Awareness Podcast, a place where we collect stories and circulate life-changing wisdom. And you definitely got some wisdom here from Dr. Amanda. Definitely think about them side effects because I'm thinking about them now right now. So with that, make it an awesome weekend.